Hey guys, Mike here. So today, I'm here to talk to you about Mary Queen of Scots. In this review, I'll be going over a brief summary of the plot, my quick thoughts about the film, and whether or not you guys should go and see it. So I'm going to try and keep this review spoiler-free. However, if you don't know anything about the film, and you want to go completely blind, then it's just come back to this video once you've seen the film. So with that, let's get started, shall we?
Should you murder me, remember you murder your sister. And you murder your queen.
So Mary Queen of Scots stars Saoirse Ronan as Mary Stuart, otherwise known as Mary Queen of Scots. You may remember her from her roles in Lady Bird and in Brooklyn. The movie also stars Margot Robbie as Queen Elizabeth I. You may remember her from The Wolf of Wall Street and Suicide Squad. In Mary Queen of Scots, Mary Stuart is recently widowed and comes back home from France to Scotland, and just by simply being there, she has a strong claim to the throne of the United Kingdom. And because of this, Queen Elizabeth is very threatened by Queen Mary, so she does everything she can to keep her under heel, lest she tries to usurp her throne. So going into this movie, I didn't really know much about Mary Queen of Scots, or pretty much anything that happens during this era, but all I did know was the famous thing that happens to her. I'll give you a hint, it's the same thing Sean Bean's famous for. So, I'm always open to learn new things, and I thought it'd be interesting to find out what happened in this point in time. So first off, I'll talk about the things I did like in this movie. The performances were really good, especially from Saoirse Ronan. This girl is really good in this movie. I expected her to give a good performance, and that's exactly what she did. Though having said that, I haven't really seen any of the other movies that she's been in. But just going off her reputation, I knew that she was going to be good in this, and you know what, she didn't disappoint me. The only thing I can really fault her on is not necessarily anything she particularly did, it was just the inconsistencies of her character. Though I suppose, seeing as this character is based in fact, you can't really change much about anything she did. But, after seeing this, I'd look forward to seeing her in pretty much anything else, really. And also, got Margot Robbie in this movie as Queen Elizabeth I. Pretty much anything I've seen Margot Robbie in, she's never failed to give a good performance. And while she is good in this movie, she's not really in it all that much. She's all over the marketing campaign, the posters, everything like that. But this movie is pretty much most of the time about Mary Queen of Scots, as, you can guess from the title. But still, the scenes that Margot Robbie was in, they were, they weren't boring. And she certainly did her best with the limited screen time she had. So in a nutshell, I can't really fault performance because there wasn't really that much to really go on. Though actually, I'd say the biggest crime about this movie is the fact that David Tennant's not in it more. He should have just been playing everyone in this movie. He should have played Queen Elizabeth, he should have played Mary Queen of Scots, because, David Tennant would just crush it as anyone. But in all seriousness, the scenes that David Tennant was in, he did really command the screen, even though, his character wasn't really someone you'd be rooting for. But, nevertheless, I just enjoyed seeing David Tennant on screen. Also, another good thing that came out of this movie was the cinematography, because there are quite a lot of interesting landscape shots that just remind you how beautiful a country England and Scotland are. And the movie definitely takes full advantage of this. And also, while the battles in this movie are far in between, the ones that do actually happen, they are entertaining. You can definitely see everything that's going on. They're not necessarily big, grandioso scale Game of Thrones kind of ones, but when it did happen, I couldn't really fault it. The only things I can really fault in these battle scenes is not necessarily any of the choreography or anything like that. Just more or less the decision-making of the characters. But, that comes down to plot and script and everything like that. Which actually brings me to my next point about the plot, script, and the pacing of the movie. While the plot is definitely interesting and is well written, the pacing in this movie is a bit weird for me. Because, for the most part, it does feel that it is tiptoeing along, going really slow. But then it comes to these moments in the movie where they do a political move, and it feels like that it's going a million miles an hour. So it'll just start going like this, really slow, then all of a sudden just jump ahead, and you just got whiplash because you just don't know what's happened. That's not to say that the movie's hard to follow. It's just with its natural slow pace and the quick nature of politics, it does make it feel slightly jarring. But I'd say actually, my biggest problem with this movie came with its ending. There's this certain scene towards the end of the movie where it was a good scene, admittedly, but I was thinking that, this movie must be coming quite close to the end. There's still got quite a lot of story to tell. But literally, and I'm not kidding, after this scene, even though they have still quite a lot of story to tell, they literally just go da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, end, literally in under 2 minutes. And I'm thinking you could have had probably another half an hour, maybe even another hour to tell the rest of the story. And it's probably the most important part of the movie. But I just found it quite weird how you would pretty much just skip over the most important thing and the most famous thing that Mary Queen of Scots is known for. I guess the reason they did it is because everyone knows this point in history, but I don't like it when movies do that, when they just assume you know a point in history. I prefer that they just tell you the story without just assuming that you know it. But having said that, I wouldn't say that this ruined the movie for me. It just made the ending just incredibly rushed. Overall, guys, everyone in this movie gave an exceptional performance, and like I said, I wish David Tennant was in it more. Well, anything that David Tennant's in, I wish he was just in more. The cinematography is good, the battle scenes are good, and it's just a well-written movie. Though, like I said, the pacing was the biggest issue alongside the rushed ending. I still actually quite enjoyed this movie. But now, as for whether or not you guys should go and see it, I would probably recommend this movie, not necessarily to absolutely everyone, but if you're into your kind of period piece dramas, then I'd say this is definitely for you. But I'd say if period piece dramas aren't really your cup of tea, then I'd say just steer clear of this movie, because I don't think this will really convert you to these kind of movies. Okay guys, that's my review for Mary Queen of Scots. If you've seen it, what did you think about it? And what's your favourite movie about a Scottish monarch? Whatever it is, drop it in the comments below. Until next time, I've been Michael. See ya!